Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show with your host, Bill Shelton. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
The Michigan golfer has traveled to French Lick, Indiana for the 2012 Big Ten Conference Golf Championship for both the men and the women. This is Bill Shelton. Along with Brad, we'll be covering the event this year from the famed resort in the Midwest that has been recently renovated at a cost of over $500 million. 2 golf courses will serve as the venues for the men and women's sports, and for the first time there are several changes in the Big Ten Conference Championship. The first change is, in fact, that it is at a neutral site and not one of the host schools as it has been in the past. The second change is that both the men and the women are competing in the same venue, though the women will be playing at the Donald Ross course and the men will be playing at the relatively new Pete Dye course. The third change, of course, is that there is another member. There's an expansion of the Big Ten Conference as Nebraska will be competing in the conference championship this year for the first time. And the fourth change relates to the women's program. Instead of the 36 the first day, 18-18, the women will play 3 18-hole rounds of golf to determine the Big Ten championship. Brad has been reviewing the men's championship, and we're going to turn to him now, Brad, and bring us up to date on what's to be expected in the men's championship.
The men's championship this week at French Lick for the Big Ten tournament will be held at the Pete Dye course here in French Lick, Indiana. 7,100-yard new design from Pete Dye opened a few years ago that certainly will put these young men to the test. Although there are no clear favorites this week, certainly the Iowa Hawkeyes have to be the one you want to watch, as they are ranked the highest in the Sagarin rankings. Well, the Michigan golfer is pleased to introduce to you, our Michigan golfer fans, Casey Lubahn, the first-year head coach of the Michigan State Spartans. We're here at the Big Ten Championship, the 2012 men's contest at the beautiful French Lick Resort in French Lick, Indiana. Casey, tell us a little bit, tell your fans out there, as a new coach, tell us a little bit about your experience both as a player and a coach and how you got to become the head coach at Michigan State.
Yeah, well, it's been a great journey, from being a walk-on player. I was actually cut from the team twice, and to be able to find my way as a scholarship athlete at Michigan State, experience some success, and really find my direction in life. Golf teaches us so much about life, and not only did I become a better person primarily, but I also became a better golfer and helped me into my future career. When I got done my senior year, I really didn't know which direction I was going to go, and I think a lot of kids still find that today. And the coach at the time, who's the coach at Iowa now, Coach Hankins, he said, why don't you come aboard, be my assistant? I thought it was something I'd do, go to grad school, be an assistant, and it ended up being a real passion for me. So after 4 years of being involved with the program and being a part of 3 Big Ten championship teams, I got the wonderful opportunity to be the head coach at Miami University in Ohio, and I spent 3 years, and that's where you really learn. We can talk about being a player, we can talk about being an assistant. The first time it says head coach, you realize those decisions are on you. Everything is harder. And we had 3 good years, and I got the call of a lifetime this summer to come home and lead my alma mater. And it's one of the great privileges of my life.
Let me ask you a little bit about the challenge of being a head coach. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of good players that are out there. Some teams seem to win year after year. Other teams seem to struggle. What do you think is the biggest difference between being the assistant and the head coach, particularly when the record's on you, when the season's on you, when you answer to the athletics director? What's the biggest difference in making the good golf teams in NCAA men's golf and maybe those that just never get over the hump?
Yeah, it always boils down to communication. The first time you really learn about being a head coach is when you either have a problem of serious discipline or, a tournament where something doesn't go your way. Being able to communicate to young men who are still fragile at this. They're still learning. They're still growing as human beings. And I think that's what separates great people in any endeavor in life, great leaders, great corporate citizens, you name it. There's a communication piece. So part of the advantage of being a younger guy, you know, I'm just 31 a couple days ago. Doesn't feel that young, but part of the advantage of being a younger guy is I have very fresh memory from what they're going through. That gets my foot in the door. But if you can't communicate to them how they're going to get better and in ways that are going to motivate them and discipline them at the same time, you struggle. But with this group, they've taken in everything we've asked, and I'm still learning every day, which is the best part of the job.
Yeah. As the viewers can see, and you can see as well, we're here at the beautiful resort. Yeah. French Lick is just a wonderful place, a rejuvenation of an area that was very popular back in the early 20th century, now making a comeback both in terms of the spa, the resort, the casino, but also the golf courses. And I'm sure for the young men that are here, for your team and all the other teams, and the young women that are here, the accommodations are wonderful. It's a very beautiful place to be. But I want to turn my attention to the business of the weekend, which is the golf course. You played the Pete Dye course, which is a relatively new course, what I would consider to be one of his better designs in terms of being a signature Pete Dye design. But let's talk a little bit about, you're sitting in second place right now in the tournament after 2 rounds, after 36 holes. Tell me a little bit about the course, how you might have prepared them, what you saw during the practice rounds that you thought were going to be important for your team, for your players to be successful this week.
Well, they're getting tired of hearing it, but they're going to hear it all weekend. Pete Dye makes you play the percentages. Okay, so at home in Bath Township, we have Eagle Eye, which is a classic Pete Dye. It's not actually Pete, it's a lieutenant of his, but we played Purdue last week, classic Pete Dye design. So we had a lot of experience, and from that experience, we realized it was going to be about playing the percentage shots. Not always the shots that a TV announcer would think are the best shots, but the best shots you know deep in your heart you can pull off with the most consistency. And the golf course is kind of relentless from the fact that it's constantly asking you to make a serious judgment and commit to it. Even the holes that would be deemed easier or more routine, he's asking you to pick a really good shot and be able to execute it. Now, he's giving you some room out there, 8,100 yards from the back tees. He's giving you some room, but it's extremely demanding. And I think if you look at TPC Sawgrass and some of the famous crooked stick, he really tests your brain as much as he tests your physical skills. And you know, so far we've handled it fairly well. You know, through 30 holes, I think we had a 10 or 12 shot lead today. It's only when we see those leaderboards and then all those decisions we talked about become a little harder that we get tripped up a little bit. But I think that's just going to help us. We're going to realize that the shot execution is going to change as the conditions change. As it goes.
You know, if you look at the rankings, golf stat rankings, which is how you got your seeding this week, it hasn't been necessarily a great year for the Big Ten, but I certainly know there are some great players. And I know in the Big Ten, and I know certainly you have some. Who are you counting on this week maybe to be the one you look to at the end? You know, you always look for that guy that takes the final shot in basketball or something like that. Who are your players that you're looking to make that final shot to bring you home, maybe make that 3-footer on 18 to get the trophy back to East Lansing?
Yeah, you know, obviously throughout the year, Dan Ellis, a junior for us, has been that guy who consistently stepped up. He's averaging 72.5 this year, playing well. Dan's one of those guys. His father was a basketball coach, the basketball coach in Northern Michigan for 24 years. So he wants the ball in his hands, you know, and to use a basketball analogy. So we know it. Coming down the stretch, Dan, he thrives off the limelight. But to us, maybe more importantly, is the freshman. You know, McCormick Clouser from Fort Wayne area, Indiana. He has all the ability in the world. He's just learning how to do this. And he took a couple of big steps forward this morning, shot 32 going out, and then let it come back.
Yeah.
Played well in the first 9, the second 18, then let it come back. Once he pushes through, he's going to be just as key to us having success this weekend.
Going forward, let's just take a look. We talked about this being your first year. I know you've got some big plans for Michigan State and the team beyond just winning the Big Ten championship this week. What do you foresee for Michigan State in terms of golf? What are some things you want to bring to the program that will get you back? You know, we as you mentioned earlier, 3 Big Ten championships since the turn of the century, 4 in I think the last 14 years or so. I know you've always had a good reputation of having a good program at East Lansing. What are some things you're looking to do there?
Good question. You know, the first thing and why, you know, I'm excited to be able to spend time with you Michigan golf fans, we are embracing the state of Michigan. We're embracing the donors and the fans and the alumni who love the state, the recruits, first and foremost, who play and grow up in the state. They understand who we are, they appreciate who we are, and we're going to cultivate that and create a partnership with the state of Michigan. You know, our athletic director has done such a wonderful job promoting the university through some crazy events like the aircraft carrier game. All that is giving Michigan State a bigger platform to show off our great university and the great state we come from. So that's first and foremost, embrace Michigan and all that it has to offer. Secondly, we got to get back to the culture of accountability. If you start talking about Matt Harmon and Ryan Brem, my assistant coach, and Jack Newman and Randy Hutchinson, Michigan guys, for the most part, who are playing very well in the mini tours, they were very accountable young men. When things went poorly, they didn't point a finger. They looked at themselves and said, what can I do better? And coach, can you help me? The culture is changing here day by day. We took a step forward today of getting guys to understand that they are in charge, they are in control, and they can improve the outcome. So really, you know, it's my job. We talk a lot about championships and playing. My job is, that's maybe 25% of my job. You know, when you talk about recruiting and administration, academics, and fundraising, and being a part of the university family. So it's very humbling to be able to do all those things, and with Michigan State on your shirt, it's one.
Right. Casey, we certainly appreciate your time today. I know the Michigan golf fans have enjoyed meeting you, getting to know you. I hope we find some supporters out there for you for what is a great program, and for a program that you seem to be having in the right direction right now.
We hope so.
So we really appreciate your time today, Casey. And we appreciate you spending some time with the Michigan golfer.